Hey, yo, Neil.
Hey, what's up?
I got you.
Got you.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Grammy. Free my brother.
Cha.
It's free to his back.
Look.
Welcome to another edition of One Mic on RSG. Please go check us out at realsportsguys.com, RSG on all platforms. And it's final. Philadelphia came back, took out that Heat culture. I mean, the Heat came out with that zone, looked a little crazy out the gate. They turned the corner. I said it happened after they missed them two free throws and the Philly fans got the free chicken. They went crazy and everything else just changed after the momentum just changed. Once they knew the food was on the table, everybody got funky because they was booing them before that. And so, we'll talk about the play-in and everything that's going on, and we'll talk some college basketball. It's going to be a good one, but welcome. Before I get into it, let me bring my co-hosts, my brothers in to the conversation. What's up, Southside? We got Angel Reese, baby. We got
Yeah,
to get the
Southside,
credentials,
baby.
baby. We got
Yeah,
we got Cardoza, baby. We have to go
yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna check it out, man. Go to use whether you'll play a win trust, but yeah, we're gonna check it out. But no, it's great with the Sky and there's new optimism with the Sky. Since we had Candace Parker, so two young stars, elite players. So yeah, the guy gets something going on because the Bears. Well, hopefully the Bears are decent, but the White Sox might win 30 games this year. And I didn't misspeak when I said that. 30 games for baseball team. The Cubs are all right. Bulls are in the play-in, and yeah, I mean it's just but no.
So in the
Sky
CNA kind of
optimism,
voice,
optimism.
blue skies,
Yeah, optimism. Yeah,
skies,
optimism, man.
skies. That's what we gonna
Yes.
do. We okay. We don't have our
Yeah, yeah,
Detroit team anymore. So
that's sad. Yeah,
I gotta come with Shy Village over
It's
here.
the, it's the, it's the 94 team.
Yeah.
I 94. Yeah.
We have to do
yeah,
it that way. And my
yeah.
man Darnell, you got the draft going on. I talked to one of my colleagues up there who's gonna be at the draft this week in Detroit, and so we're gonna try and get him on to talk a little bit about his experience when he goes to the draft. I just found I was sitting there talking to him and realized that he's been doing this and he's been kind of freelancing as a writer and he's been going to the draft. So we'll bring him in. That got me thinking. I said, "Oh yeah, Darnell over there in Detroit. We don't have him going to the draft yet, but how things over there in the area? I hear it's going to be buzzing. It's going to be a big crowd over there."
Yeah, they're getting everything ready, and people are excited for it. But hey, it's fight week. We got Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia coming on this week. I'm excited for that too. So there's a lot to look forward to. We got the draft. We know we just got the WNBA draft. NBA playoff season just about to start. So a lot to look forward to.
Man, I saw that video of Oscar watching your boy Garcia doing some work with the mitts. He looked like he was nervous. He like a nervous purpose. He like, this ain't gonna look good. What's up with? I mean, folks are like, is he on something? What's up? I mean, the Ryan stuff is up in. I mean, there's some people worried about Ryan, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. He's crazy, but sometimes a crazy dog is dangerous. So you got to take him serious. Um, Bernard Hopkins said that he's enacting the art of war like Sun Tzu. Um, when you're weak, act strong, and when you're strong, act weak. So I guess he's trying to play possum, but we will see come Saturday.
I
What
think
it
he
is.
enacting. I think he enacting Pookie and in New Jack City. When things unravel, they unravel before your eyes. I hope that don't happen. We'll see. It's gonna be a big fight week. A lot been going on. UFC was great. We didn't bring this one. Max Holloway's knockout on the UFC was
Yep. He's second left.
incredible.
He's
Was
second left.
Oh my goodness! I mean that entire card, that UFC 300 was off the chain. We didn't even have it on there, but man, that they did their thing. Dana White did his thing. That entire card had nothing but it's like an album with bangers. It was nothing but bangers. So we ain't got this on, but at some point we got to talk about that. I mean, Dana is owning stuff over there, man, and that 300 was And that Max Holloway, I mean, it was so good. We couldn't even watch the next two fights, which were great. Like, they had great endings. You had two championship fights. It was like sucked the air out of the arena because Max drew the line with 10 seconds left and did his thing, man. I said, man, he knocked Gaethje out, and Gaethje is a beast. And the videos that they have of folks in Hawaii reacting to that knockout, so that's hold up. So we got a lot of sports is going on, but we gonna start out, you know, talking a little bit about the WNBA draft and the March Madness wave. We had great ratings on the draft. The tickets are beginning to sell here at the Indiana Fever right now. They're going up, you know, and they had this great conversation on was it the 11th hour, I think is that called, like but around with Jamil Hill and just talking about, and she did a really good job of really kind of centering what it looks like to address the economics. It's not about comparing it to the NBA, but the way in which she's talking about the share. It was really interesting conversation, and usually it's about lag time. You'll have this stuff happen, and then it's about how it sets up for the next TV deal and everything else. But there's a lot of energy coming off that March Madness. We didn't get a chance to really talk about that. But Darnell, as you look at how that championship game came down, and now we had this week. I mean, it's imagining like you just finished a full college season. You're turning around. You got to be at the draft, and then you got to be ready for the season to start in a few weeks. It's a lot for these women, but they call this the generational draft. But when you think about what happened in that championship game, kind of coming into the draft, Darnell, what are your observations about the momentum and where you see this thing going?
Well, it got a lot of eyes on the sport, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing. A lot of narratives going on, but it was an exciting game. I didn't watch it live. I was coaching at an off-season workout, but I got the chance to watch it the next day. But yeah, it was a really entertaining game. Caitlin Clark had it going in the first quarter. But then the second quarter, they decided to put Raven the glove Johnson on her, and that was pretty much all she wrote for what had going on. But yeah, that whole momentum is great for the sport.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's going to be really tough. I imagine it'll be really tough for them to go into another season right after playing the college season. But that's just the reality of the way it is set up, because they don't want to compete with the NBA because they're going to take all the ratings. So it just is what it is. It's tough, and the draft and the eyes around the draft really brought attention to. I don't know if we want to get into this, but the salary, salary level, especially the rookie scale for these young women, and people are getting to see how much they're getting paid compared to their male counterparts, and those numbers are quite staggering, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges is I think when Jamil was talking a little bit about this is I think what people getting twisted is they're not when women are talking about the gap, they're not really talking about compared to the men in that sense. What they're talking about is share the revenue. And I think what's been happening with the WNBA, because they haven't been able to, they have to really think about how sustainable it is. They're not getting as much of even the revenue being produced, right? And I think even though there's a TV deal, but there's still revenue that could bring those salaries up a little bit higher, and the percentage even of the revenue that they're doing is not high enough. And that's an interesting thing that is going to change at the next time they sit at the bargaining table. The other thing is you don't have as many positions, and so they're beginning to expand, right? You got the team that's going to be going in. Golden State's going to be having. They're going to have you looking at a couple of expansion teams. So one of the tough things you could see that as they got towards the end of the first round, they are already talking about players that in the NBA we used to say they're going to stash them overseas, and so so you got all this talent in who's going to end up selling on rosters, because you don't have as many folks leaving, because the ones who by the time you get to the high end, you got people like Tarasi who's there. She's 40, still going, right? So that turnover, so they're managing a lot. That's part of this equation, and they're gonna have to expand teams, which is going to be something they got to pay attention to. Carl, as you look at the draft, as we say, Chicago is going to have, Cardoza and going to have Reese, and you start to see some of this, the impact and the eyeballs coming, like in some of these places. What are you hoping to see in this year? What are you hoping to see? Diana said reality showing up, but statistics show you some of these rookies end up making a splash early on. That's even counters Diana's. Do you see some of these generational rookies making a splash?
No, yeah, I definitely see that, D. Wells. I think that definitely Caitlin Clark's game translates. All that mess talking about she's not going to translate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very excited in Chicago for the ladies coming in, Cardozo and Angel Reese, and getting the Sky back in relevancy as far as WNBA goes. But yeah, I think it definitely, you look at the championship game, it was just a tremendous atmosphere. I saw it live, and I saw it in the quarter in New Orleans. It was crazy. Then a brother was a Gamecock fan, was shouting, jumping up and down, just hit the bar. It looked crazy. It was. But yeah, but the main thing is that we're going to see definitely where the WNBA is going to take a step up, and Caitlin Clark's going to help that, regardless of her haters, regardless of what people are saying about her. She's important for a necessity for the game, and I think the best basically that's going to happen. That she's going to put like I said, I shouldn't say it's a sports show, but I've not watched that much women's basketball, but that championship game was captivating, especially considering the fact that bluntly South Carolina clearly was a better team, but Iowa battled, and you got to give them credit. They were underdog. They battled hard. The best team wanted to end, but they gave it a battle until, like you said, Raven put that shut down Caitlin Clark, and it was over. Yeah. So and Down Staley did everything, but yeah, we definitely see where these players are going to transcend to the WNBA level. They're playing elite right now, and so I think definitely they will translate. So.
Yeah, I mean, the things that Angel Reese does well translates to league. When you can rebound, that usually translates. You block shots and things, and she's someone you don't really need to run plays for. You can run plays for her, and she can still be effective. The person I told y'all the person I'm excited about, this Alyssa Peely. She's going to Minnesota. Man, they getting a steal over there. I mean, I like her game a lot, and so excited to see it. And the one that got me was Mule from UConn.
Seattle.
Man, she's going to Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
and her defense. It's going to be interesting to watch her. She's she's coming with that. They interviewed her afterwards, and because she talked about how Gino took a chance on her, and she looked at him like it paid off. But she got something about her defense and how she gets after it. It's gonna be interesting to watch these stories, and we'll be looking at it.
And how about LA?
Yeah, L.A.
LA, they got Rakia Jackson from
Yeah,
Detroit, and they
Mm-hmm.
got
Cameron Brink, yeah.
from Stanford. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you talking about some long players who got length and can defend, and they play so much. Their game is translating more. The biggest thing for me, even more than the salaries, is opening the spots, and so they got to find a way to open the spots and raise the salaries. Is going to be important because they got a logjam. And last year, I think people lost. They got all that energy, and then by the time we got Ross, people got dropped off. You got young folks on social media talking about this process. So I know they're trying to manage that. These players right here are gonna stick. They're gonna be some veterans gonna lose their spots with some of these folks. It's just gonna happen like that. You know, it's gonna be some veterans playing over in Spain and in France with some of these cats coming in. That's how it's gonna go. So I'm excited about that. But one thing it got me thinking about is Danny Hurley. We were talking about this before we got on the air, and I love Danny Hurley. Jersey City, you could tell he got a little Brick City hip hop in him. He got a little energy like that. And at the end, he's like, we running college basketball, and that sounds like something somebody would have said at the end of the BET Awards. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like somebody would say at the end of MTV. We running hip hop, and he said it not like it was. He wasn't really being. He's being matter of fact, braggadocious. It's something you would just feel. Like I told you before I got on, he came out like Jadakiss. Like I'm top 5 dead or alive. That's the energy he came with, and it got me thinking about who runs games. And he wasn't lying. I think UConn is running. They have been running it. On the women's college basketball side, you could say South Carolina running. On the NBA, is Denver running it? On the NFL, got me thinking it's Kansas City running it. So I'm thinking about that with those teams that we think might be running those sports. I'm bringing you Hammer. The concept of running it. Who do you think is running, and who you think might be running it for a while? If some of those teams or maybe you got somebody else you think is running it, their sport.
I say UConn right now. I mean, I think UConn. You look at what they in South Carolina. I put them. Look at South Carolina. They lost their whole starting lineup. And they came back and went undefeated. I mean, that's unbelievable. And Cardozo was off the bench last year, and now she was a star. So yeah, I mean, Don Staley has a thing where we're talking about in our group chat where she has people buying into the system.
Yeah,
their cats are coming off the bench. McDonald's All Americans could go anywhere else and eat, but they want to eat. They want to win in Columbia. And so that's the one thing where her culture is amazing. And she had 2 championships, but, it just didn't work out that way where she's got one. It's great. And then UConn, same thing. They lost some big players, Gulu, Jordan Hawkins. Yeah. And look at what happened right now. They're coming back with, this team with Klingon and, Castle and just a great team, just great on both sides of the ball, tremendous defensively, fast defensively, great offensively, just, again, bought the system. Someone like Stephen Castle could go anywhere and been the man, but I was listening to about what the recruitment with Hurley. Hurley told him, you want to win, you come here, UConn. And the man chose to win, and he's still going to get paid. He gets money. And the fact is that that's the thing you look at as far as running. But I think those are 2 programs that really are running because you're able to build a culture and restock with different players with the same culture, UConn culture, and winnings. Yeah.
And Don, I wanted you to come in as someone who's coaching, and I know you're trying to aspire to do this. Like this idea, how is it that Danny Hurley and Don can build culture in a time when you have a whole bunch of people saying you can't do culture, right? But they managed to just be anti all that. They managed to make it work. Why is that? What is it about them that you see that makes that work when you see other coaches not quite getting it?
Well, there's a personality factor to it.
Yeah.
Like you could tell with Don Staley, she's she's almost like America's favorite auntie. Like everybody, she has that gravitational pull to her that everybody wants to be a part of her program. And also, she's a worker. She goes the extra mile for her players. There's a recruit that she has right now that's one of the best players in the country. And she is an excellent student. She's a 5.0 grade point average student. But the major that she wanted isn't offered by South Carolina. And she went to the board and lobbied for them to add this major to be a part of their curriculum to get this girl to sign. And it worked. She has that kind of pull. So, that just going the extra mile, being that hard of a worker, and also having the personality to attract the recruits, that's the recipe for success. And I think Hurley does have some of that too.
Yeah. And I think one of the things you just hit is they're not afraid to have the conversations. Like one of the things she talks about is you have a lot of coaches who run away from parents. She realizes the important part of parents and she leans into it. It's almost like she's running her own parent program. And what she's getting on, she gets real with them about the role they got to play in helping this young student athlete develop. And I think lean into areas where a lot of coaches don't do it because it's just part of their value system. It's something I think they both have in common. They're just not going. They're not going to relent. They're not going to let it go. There's going to be something they're going to stick with, and they're willing to lose you for it, right? And I think that's something that is really refreshing. And I think that's why they're going to stay in power. Like you said, Don, the bench, they call themselves, what they call themselves the seat buckle gang. They all going to be starters next year. I mean, it's like, or however they do it, that lineup's gonna weave in, and they'll probably add a couple more people. But you're gonna come in to a program. You're not transferring in to something. Like if you decide to come to to South Carolina, you coming in, as a program. What about the possibility of Denver? Is Denver running things, Hampton, in the NBA? Are
No,
they running
because
things?
you look at Boston. I think clearly is the best team. I just don't see that right now. I don't see the dominance that Denver had. I mean, Denver had a great year last year, but I just don't see the dominance, man. I don't see anybody in the NBA right now that I would say is dominant that way. I think I think definitely Boston's a favorite. We'll see if they choke or not. But I think the only person going to be Boston themselves, and so I think Boston could possibly do something. But the only problem is that some of their core player, Drew Holiday, is 34 years old. That's a problem. Probably too old for even they sign him to extension, which I think is a dubious extension. But you got to reward your players. But that's not my money. It's somebody else's money they're spending. But yeah, bottom line is that I don't see Denver being. If they win it this year, then I can see it. But we'll see. I mean, I don't see them as being the defensive dominant team that these other teams are. I think they're very skilled offensively. They're good defensively. They're not elite defensively. And that's why I think, really, I don't see them. They have to step up their defense in order to be running the game. I don't see that right now.
I think they play good enough defense to win. And I think Jokic is so disruptive that he disrupts other people's offense. It's just
Yeah, but we're talking about domination, though. We're talking about
yeah. Right now, ain't nobody getting with them.
I don't think they're playing
I
dominant
don't think
defense.
Boston can get with them. I don't think
We'll
Boston.
see.
Boston
Again, like they say,
is
D. Wells.
Boston
What
gonna
they
relent back?
always say, we'll see it on the court. So we'll see it on the court. Again,
Yeah,
if Denver does win,
do you trust their coach? They had this really good conversation on one of the shows, and they ranked playoff coaches in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And your boy was like, they ranked him near the bottom.
Well, yeah, second row Joe's not a great coach.
And you got players. When it's tough to get going, are they going to go? They're going to return back to that stuff, that one-on-one ball, not moving the ball, isolating out.
We will see. Again, like I said,
yeah.
We all know the regular season is different from the playoffs. So we'll see if they step it up. And second row Joe, we'll see if they step it up.
What about Kansas City?
I think Kansas City is definitely. The only thing that I think is tarnishing is Rashid Rice being the trouble he's in. I don't know how long of a suspension he's going to get, things like that, but that's going to hurt him because
with the receivers here, they can find somebody. And then they sign.
Then they
sign your boy.
Keep on. Again, I agree they're going to keep, but my point is that I still think that's going to be a huge loss, man. It's going to be a huge loss.
With them, as long as Kelsey is on the same page, they doing something with the running back. I mean, they come up with a system of how they're going to distribute, and I don't think they're going to come in with folks who got slippery fingers like they had last year and cats lining up outside. So I think they're going to figure out. They're bringing Brown in, Marquise Brown in, right?
Yeah, bringing Marquise Brown. That's excellent.
Then I think they'll get some people in the draft. This draft is deep with receivers.
Yeah, this draft is really deep receivers. So yeah, Rashid might mess around, but I still think it's about talent development, like you always say, bro. And I think that it's unfortunate Rashid Rice made some very poor decisions. That he's going to sit down
and he might not get back in the lineup with the cats they get.
That's a good point. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I saw
on defense. In defense, they got their own minister of defense over there. They don't re-sign. I think the key to running things, at least on the pro, you got your core guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got their core guys on offense. And before, I think they got they got the defensive coordinator. Like part of thing they running it. Now the only thing I got them, the struggle they're gonna have is
they're gonna miss Need though. They're gonna miss Need.
Yeah.
Okay, echo. Yeah, we echo.
Now is that Darnell?
No, that's me.
That's you. What's going on? What you got going on? Where you at?
There's a gas leak in the house. I had to.
You on the air? Be safe now. This is real sports guys. This is how we get down. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, gas leak. Jeez, you all right?
All right, you go do what you need to do, and we'll catch you on the other side. Hampton, I'll run this. Save yourself. Save your parents. I gotta make sure my family is okay over there. Make sure you got that stuff going.
So where you out the crib? Where you at right now? You on your phone or?
Yeah, I'm on my phone in the car.
We can't see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, DTE handle it. DTE in there right now.
Turn the light on so we can see you.
Yeah.
Uh,
I saw your light went off. I was like, what happened? Yeah, I thought something.
yeah, they over there taking around with the lights. I'm in the car,
Okay, there you
so
go.
you ain't
Real
gonna
sports guy. Look at him.
see a whole bunch
Real
of
sports
Yeah.
guy. This is how we get down.
yeah.
Live from the Witness Protection Program. We get down. we, get, we get down. We don't care. We run this like the wire. He out there. He said, man, Brother Muzan is around the corner.
Yeah,
Gotta go,
make
gotta
clear.
go.
Darnell's not CI. Let's make that clear, man. He got he got CI, bro.
Yeah, we try to have this conversation about, what other sports we have people running the sport. Uh, is Las Vegas, the Aces, are they running WNBA? They'll tell you they running. They G's.
Yeah,
And they just
yeah, they running it
pick
for
up
now.
who they just pick up in the draft. Like they
They picked up
reloaded.
Kate Martin. They got Kate
Yeah.
Martin,
And
and
they
then they
picked up a
got the
guard.
girl from Syracuse.
Yeah, I
Syracuse,
like her.
Fear. She one
And
of the
she got
highest
no fear.
scoring players in history.
Yeah, and she coming for all that smoke, even in the locker room. Yeah, they might be holding, and they're planning with the way the hard cap work. They're bringing in some young players they can transition in probably a year or two because they have to deal with the hard cap with all that talent they got. So the Aces, I might say, on a pro level, is probably running things until some otherwise notified.
Hmm. Yeah, you talked about the Nuggets right before I
Yeah,
went off, but
yeah,
yeah, the Nuggets. Just the nature of the sport. It's hard. It's hard to be running things, especially nowadays with the new second apron and the new
yeah,
additions to the salary cap. But they have a really solid core. I'm still picking them to win this year.
yeah,
They somebody else got to prove that they can beat them. I'm still picking them for this year, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily running things just yet. Not to the level that Dan Hurley and Don Staley are running things. And especially because did you hear about UConn? They just picked up your boy Terrence Reed
wow,
in the
okay,
transfer portal.
yeah.
Yeah, so they just keep reloading. It's not stopping anytime soon.
Well, I love this conversation. So, NBA playoffs, we had a chance. We just saw the 76ers win today. They started off in the hole, and Nick Nurse made some adjustments. Yeah, and the fans want some chicken, and they got that going. Yesterday, the Lakers pulled it out. They got lucky. Zion pulled the hammy or whatever he did because Zion was going to work for 40 on him.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
pulled his hamstring.
he was putting them in that
Yeah, he
blender.
had 40.
He had 40
He
on
had
him
four. He had 40 in 36 minutes.
in 36
For 40,
minutes.
11, and 5.
They got hurt
I know
again.
Carl said he's still out of shape. I'm like, if you watch the game, he wasn't out of shape. He he was
He's hurt
he
now.
was playing 36. He played 36. He played 36 minutes.
On Friday,
He wasn't even
man.
breathing hard.
He's
Going 110 miles an hour every second he on the court.
And yeah, I know that's why he broke down. That's
Yeah, because next year he's got to come
down.
in shape. He had to go halfway through the season to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be at that point when he starts the season, and that's where the injury came because he had to rev the engine up to even get to that point in the season. When
the injury came because of what you talked about last time we talked about Zion. It's the gait. It's the imbalance. It's the way he walked. Everybody people reported after he got hurt. They said he left the building without a limp. I was like, how do you know? Zion limp at baseline when his regular walk is a limp. So like you like we couldn't even tell what he hurt because he always walked like that.
Yep.
Like and that type of movement pattern can cause overuse, and I think that's why eventually he pulled his hamstring because he's putting extra strain, especially when he's going as hard as he is. And next year, I think the biggest key for him next year, he got to come with a mid-range jumper. So now he can go by you.
Yeah.
He got to have his body, but he
got to be in top shape. He can't.
I think he has the formula.
He ain't shape.
I think he's getting the formula.
No, he ain't shape. I mean, I saw him in Milwaukee. I was embarrassed for him. He was huffing and puffing. It's just embarrassing. I mean,
did you watch the game yesterday?
I
didn't watch the game.
He was on the free throw line.
He was off. he was obviously in shape. If you watch
Yeah,
the game,
I
he was
heard he was
obviously in
balling,
shape.
but then he
He
get
was
hurt again though. That's what I'm saying. Why
he
he got
was
hurt?
making second and third efforts, blocking LeBron's shot
I
multiple
know that,
times,
bro. I
running down.
understand that, but my point is that, bro, why did he get hurt again? He's always getting hurt, bro.
But
He's
part of
scored. I
that
mean, he's
is
not. I mean, the thing that scares me about him is that he's averaging what 23 a game. He's not. I see him play. Besides last night, he looks. He doesn't look like he's got the effort that you would have in that type of game. So man, he's got to get better shape, man. I mean, 280. He can't be 280, man. He got to be 260, 250, something like that. He got to be. I mean,
and Barkley talked about that. When he talked about when Moses Malone talked to him, and he's right. He's got to come in the shape we saw him in last night. He's got to start the season there, along
yeah.
with what you said, Darnell. Adding part of taking stress off your body is everything is explosive. He got to find easy ways to score, and that's where I think you're right. In addition to doing that, you manage the game by finding easier ways. One of the things that I love about Gilbert Arenas talks about, he said, the way people score 30 or 40 is not working hard. They don't waste that many dribbles. They don't waste that many stuff. And then they start getting cooking. And that was a 40 points, but that was a tough 40. He was going at, you know what I'm saying? He was going at a high volume. So Darnell, you're right. Add pieces where he's got go-to moves where he doesn't always have to be banging with somebody, right? I think is because he's got to do it on both ends for this team. But I like where he's going. I like their future. I agree with some people are saying they need to add a little bit more stuff at the point guard position along with Alvarado. They need to like build out
and
some of that
and I would
backcourt
be
presence.
I'm gonna be controversial here. They need to trade Brandon Ingram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
what
say
happened?
that.
What happened
I
to
would
him?
trade.
What happened to him this year? He had down year. I saw that. He had
Yeah,
down year.
yeah.
What happened this year?
He
It'd be interesting to
he's
trade
a ball
Brandon.
he's a ball stopper.
Yeah,
They don't play well together.
yeah,
It's because he needs the ball. He's a catch and hold type of guy. He
yeah,
needs to he needs to dribble the ball a couple times to make a play, and because of that, Trey Murphy is a much better fit next to Zion. So when Trey
Mhm.
Murphy's in the game, you see when Trey Murphy's in the game, Dyson Daniels is in the game, Herb Jones is in the game, it just flows much better, especially with Alvarado playing point guard.
yeah,
So I like what Devon said. They need to get a point. They probably need to draft a point guard,
yeah,
and then I'll probably try to trade
Ingram,
Brandon
yeah,
Ingram for like
yeah.
a stretch five. Like if they could get like a Wendell Carter, if they could get a guy like a Miles Turner that could help their team a whole lot.
yeah,
Because Kelvin Sampson said something in his end of season press conference. I listened to it a couple weeks ago. He was saying every team needs to learn how to win, but how they win.
mm,
And every team it is not the same for every team year to year. And the way that the Pelicans win is through energy and transition and playing in transition and getting stops. And the big key to that is Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. That's how they win. That's when they're at their best. So they need to play to those strengths. They need to get a stretch five next to Zion. They need to get another point guard in there to help them facilitate when they have to play in the half court, but also to help them push the ball in transition. So I
yeah,
think that's how the Pelicans have to approach it. And even hey, if the Hawks want to get rid of one of their point guards, maybe that's a
yeah,
destination for Ingram. Maybe you trade Ingram over there to try to get either Murray or Trey Young,
yeah.
which either one if they might want to depart with. And that might be a good move for him. But hey, I think that's the
That's
direction the
actually
Pelicans
that's
need to
actually a
go.
really good trade right there. That helps both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good trade. Talk to me a little bit about obviously you know we might hear some Cooley High in Gold State. I watched that. They was walking off. I mean, them Sacktown youngins was like, we ain't
Mhm.
having it. Y'all
Yeah.
old. We gonna let you know what we running y'all out this place. We about to press this big red button and let the laser ride. We not gonna mess around with this. We don't want to be disrespectful, but we're gonna be disrespectful. And it was just interesting to watch Mike Brown but they just I mean, Clay was what 0 for 10. But he had a great final part of the season up until last night.
Mhm.
Hammer, Gold State, man. I mean, what are your thoughts about moves? The next, what do you do?
Well, I thought about Boys to Men, end of the road when I saw them last night. So um, no, seriously, it's just it's time to end it. Clay, he did play better, but Clay's not himself. He really hasn't been himself since the injuries. I think Kaminga's being held back, and he could be their top dog, but they just don't have the team for him. And Draymond, obviously, that was a sad contract. But yeah, I just think it's in the road for them. Chris Paul too's broken down, so it's just unfortunate where there's not enough around them, and I think this is time where it's come its course. So, and where the bottom line, I think they need to trade Steph. You can break up the team, trade everybody, and just start over and use Kuminga as the building block. I think Kuminga could be a special player as a lead dog. I think he could score 25, 30 points a game and be an impact player in the league. And I think it's too much holding back now. You have a great asset, and you need to start using them against maximum potential. You made clear to people you're not going to trade him. People were asking for him all day last year, and they said no. And so that's what you have to do is move on. You got a young coach, Steve Kerr, I think could definitely restock, and also I think he's going to get a good experience in Paris this year with the Olympic team, sort of see how you put a team together and bring different pieces together and be able to work with Mike Dunleavy Jr. to build a team. But it's over for them. They had a great run, but all things come to an end in life and in sports, and so it's over for them. And I wish all of them well. And we talking about in Chicago, we want to see Steph in Chicago. It'd be great to see him in Chicago. See him, a place where you get another championship. But Gold State's it's end of the road, man. Like I said, it's end of the road, and I can't sing, but I sing it if I can sing it. That's where it is right now, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you pointed out, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, and I don't know if to put it on Steve Kerr or where I put it, but other than a Poole, the development of young players is they missed it. And like you said, now Kuminga is starting to it's like a timing that's just missing on some of that. And they're missing, and this is like Darnell talking about, there's certain positions and roles that can unlock you. And so one of the things that they're going to figure out is, who you move, right? Who you stick with. I think they hit on two rookies, a couple rookies that I think can be contribute. They got to find that veteran who's kind of a star in there who can do some things. There, it's going to be interesting, and they up against the money. So, and so it's going to be interesting. Darnell, though you probably been watching this, but if you're in there with Dunleavy, you that cat behind the scenes like you right now in the dark. You don't want to whisper. And they're like, who's that assistant G being back there in the dark behind Dunleavy? Giving them some advice, looking at the analytics, bringing it all together. What do you think about it? What are the chess moves you trying to make?
So you just gotta sit down with the big three. I would sit down with the big three and ask them, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want this to play out? I'm not giving Klay Thompson the max of. I think that's abundantly clear at this point.
Yeah.
He's either going to take the mid-level exception, or if somebody else is willing to pay him more money, that he can go elsewhere. But if me personally, if I'm the GM, I don't look for an abrupt. I don't look for abrupt ending with this team, because I think you keep Steph. You have a hard conversation with Draymond. I would put together some type of thing with him, almost like with Kyrie, where it's like a
Yeah,
conditional deal. Like, hey, if you keep
you
doing
got to
what
be
you're doing, you're
available.
gonna be out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
best availability. You
He's
got to
the
be
real
there,
reason.
man.
He he's the real reason why they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Because with them on the court, with him on the court, they're so much better, and they wouldn't even be in the play in if Draymond had not gotten suspended. But
Yep.
but as far as the actual offseason moves,
I think you have to have a hard conversation with Clay and Draymond, and I think ultimately you let them ride it out. You know what I'm saying? They built this dynasty, and they deserve to go out their way. But there has to be some compromise in that as well. So I think I bring them back at a at a respectable price, but I go look for some guys because the Warriors, they do draft well. You know, they got Podzimski this last year. Podzimski.
He's
They
a
also
player.
had Trey Jackson Davis, which are they're really good
Yep,
picks.
both of them.
Moses Moody has been held hostage, but
Yep, they got to free him.
he showed up. He showed up yesterday. He
Yep.
showed up yesterday. Kuminga had to dang near demand a trade to start getting playing time, and as soon as he got his playing time, he showed him that he could play. So I think you continue to draft because they have a good eye for talent. So imagine if they add like a Terrence Shannon Jr. or another decent piece in the draft. And you're not going to be a championship team. The championship window for the Warriors has closed, but that doesn't mean that the players have to leave if they don't want to, right? So I have an honest conversation with them. Um, how do you want this to go? If they say if Steph comes to you and say, "Hey, I want to leave," then hey, I honor that and I trade them, but I'm not forcing any of them out the door.
Well, there was a couple that a thing that came up, and there's a piece that hasn't been talked about because people don't understand the source of the demise. Is the part that's really hurt them is that play that dropped is Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was the glue.
Mhm.
He was the defense and offensive glue, and he went through whatever that personal struggle was. He hasn't been the same, and that's a missing piece for them. And then you
His
got that
dad's
back.
sick. That's not. Yeah, his
What?
dad's sick. There's no. His dad is sick.
His
There's no.
dad, yeah.
Yeah, his
Whatever that
dad's sick. Yeah.
is, it not having him playing at that level, given who he is, that's a major miss for them. They gotta
But on
know.
top,
They gotta
yeah.
know is he gonna be coming back at the elite level? If he's not, I would figure out a package and move him.
He's not because at the end of the day he is who he is. This is who Andrew Wiggins really is. This is who Andrew Wiggins was in Minnesota. This is who Andrew Wiggins was at Kansas.
But
He's
I
a
think I
nonchalant
think in that
dude. He
final
doesn't have the
he was on a
dog in him.
high.
He only had the dog in him for that one run because the culture was high, the energy was high. Draymond was able to put a battery in his back, and since the culture fell apart when Draymond punched Jordan Poole, the vibes were off, and they weren't able to they weren't able to pump Wiggins up to be who he was that year. But this is who Andrew Wiggins is at baseline. He's a talented guy, but he doesn't have that dog in him.
So I think you figure out how to move him because I think that him packaged with some other people to bring somebody back is where I think you got to make the move. I think he still has
Well,
value.
problem him, D Walls, his contract is so big. I mean,
Yeah, but still, how old is he?
yeah, he's young, but again,
He's
his
my age.
contract,
He's a year older than me.
yeah,
Yeah,
his
they got
contract is
there's a
big.
place for him, and you got a
Well,
championship.
there's a place,
Right
but
there.
I just think again, where's
You
the
get something
value
for
there?
him.
I don't see value.
If you're a good GM with a package with a couple pieces, you get something for him. That's good coming back. I think you can do something with him. I bet you he's going to be part of a move, especially if you want to figure if you think about keeping Clay, because for Clay to work, you got to have somebody on that wing and doing some other stuff that Andrew Wiggins is not doing, and you got to find that. You can't have another Andrew Wiggins year like this. That's what throws it off. Because if Andrew Wiggins is playing high, and you got Dre playing high, now you got something. The other thing that was obvious, I don't know if y'all caught it last night. Another piece they missing, and they keep missing is that length. And who had them two blocks at the end of the game on the other team on Sacramento? Y'all watch the game?
Barnes,
I didn't watch the end of it.
no, I watch
He's
that
on
I
either.
didn't watch it.
Sacramento.
I watched the first little bit.
Yeah, he's on
You
Sacramento.
probably you probably talking about Harrison Barnes, huh?
They're Barnes, right?
No,
Barnes, right?
nope,
Oh, Sabonis,
Sabonis, Sabonis.
nope, nope,
Keegan
nope.
Murray.
Nope. He used to play. He used to play for Golden State.
Oh, JaVale McGee.
Oh,
JaMale
Joe McGee.
McGee.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
that energy is what they miss. People
Yeah,
like JaVale used to cover up for a lot of things. See, one of the
yeah.
things
Underrated,
one of the things
man.
about
Underrated
Golden
player.
State that is a is always been an issue, but was covered up because they had so much talent. Is they always loose with the ball. They
Hmm.
always loose with the ball. They always turn, but they always could cover up with it. And that lack of discipline. This is where Kerr comes in. I know it drives him crazy. But when you have players like JaVale McGee and some of these guys, they can clean up for stuff. And they don't have some of those energy in that link. That link was really important for them. And they also need to find those players. Some of that link to go along with some of the players they have. I mean, JaVale was good when he was with them.
Donovan Clingan, you might say.
Yeah, they need something like that. They need that type of link that
Yeah.
alters the
Steve Kerr would
court a
never do
little
that.
bit. You see what I'm
But
saying? Now Clay can play in there. Clay, a Clay at this stage starts looking like the old Clay when you got a rim protector because he's smart enough to play position ball, right? He knows how to play. That amps up. They need that type of element, and some of that you can find in the draft. Some of that you add. If let's say Jamel moves away from Sacramento, you add that piece with you. You need guys like that people miss. That people they feel like it's easy to get rid of them, but those are the guys that are those glue guys. So that's the Lakers, man. Um, Boy, I love Darvin Ham, and I love the stuff he said. He said they want for all that smoke, and they're about to get as much smoke as they can get. But the whole theory, I want to throw a theory by y'all. I think if you're going to play Denver, now is the time to play them, right? Like, teams, they've had a
yeah, because
long
Murray's just
layoff.
coming back.
They're just coming back. Lakers got linked. They got a lot of stuff, but if it's time to play them, this is time to play them. Darnell, if you're the Lakers, if you're Darvin Ham, what do you do against Denver with what you have?
Uh,
Don't say you call Secret Service or whoever's got you in witness protection. We ain't going underground. Don't say call Brother
I don't.
Muzan.
I don't know.
Man,
Like I
I
say,
expect you to be
I
much more
really don't
creative than
know.
that. Come on, Darnell. I'm pushing you,
You said
man.
what?
I'm pushing you.
What would I do? What would I do to the Nuggets? I mean, man,
I put
you gotta.
Rui.
First of
I
all,
like that. I like
you
what you
gotta
do.
make Jokic.
I put Rui on him.
You got,
I put Rui
yeah,
and LeBron on him and just get up under him, and then play
yeah,
on everybody else.
you gotta, you gotta make Jokic work on the other end. You gotta make
Yep.
Jokic and Murray work on the other end as much as possible.
Yep.
But the hard thing about that is they have positional size at every position.
Yep.
So, even when you try to attack Jokic, um, you still have Porter's not a great defender, but he's still 6'10". You have Aaron Gordon, who is an excellent defender with a lot of size. KCP is going to make everybody work. So yeah, it's hard to necessarily take
You got to shoot
advantage of
free
that on the
throws.
defensive end. And plus, Jokic has gotten a whole lot better on the defensive end. He's gotten a
Yep.
whole lot better with his conditioning.
Yep.
So he's a much improved player, especially from the time they won back in 2020. But even from the last couple years, Jokic has gotten better every year that we've seen him. But yeah, so it's gonna be a tall order. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta make Jokic work on the other end as much as possible. Um, you got to take away the others, like you said. You got to take away the others, and yeah,
And,
it's gonna be a tough
D'Lo got to be
task. But
D'Lo. D'Lo's playing nice. D'Angelo's
He
got to
played
be.
nice. He played
He's
nice. Yeah.
playing
yep,
nice. D'Angelo got to be D'Angelo. You know.
yep. KCP. That's gonna be his assignment. He's gonna be
Mhm.
getting over all the screens. He's gonna make it tough on him. But we'll see.
You got to be in them fire. As long as you're not there with
Yeah.
them gasoline draws on, you good. But
The key is Anthony Davis, man. Anthony
yeah,
Davis got to step up and take that matchup
he does.
personally.
I'm like, how are you letting it be known that Jokic has got your number? You Anthony Davis, Carl. That's what I'm going to. You Chi-Town, man. Midwest. What's going? Like, I don't understand the mentality of AD going in this when you are clearly you are superior in so many categories. Like, how can you? I'm taking this personal. I'm taking it like Shaq. What's going on, man?
He ain't personal, man. I mean, first thing, like I told you, his key to the city is revoked. After he clowned with the Packers on the sideline, it's over. So he has no love in the city. Nobody even thinks about him being from Chi-Town anymore. I mean, he went to Kentucky. Yeah, so I mean, again, I don't see. The nickname for him, Street Clothes, because they major thing. He's in street
Yeah,
clothes.
you call. Yeah, you could call street clothes, but you got to tip your hat. He did play 76 games this year.
76
77
games.
you want to count if
He
you want to
balled this
count the
year. I give him
players.
credit. He balled this year. Yeah, I give him credit. Yeah, but again, like I said, his track record ain't like that though. I mean, he's found a way to sit a lot of times, man. But yeah, I just
If
I
I'm
don't see
him,
it.
I'm gonna average 4 blocks a game here. I'm gonna average 35 on you. Now you might get what you're gonna get, but I'm gonna give you all I got. I don't see him going like that. Ain't no way
No,
in the
I don't
world
see
he
it. The
put that
only
40.
time we saw him be elite, D Wills, was when they're in the bubble. That's it. And that's telling. I mean, I don't like to take away the championship from the Lakers like that, but let's keep it real. It had to be a controlled environment where he had very little, no fans. He excelled. But when it's a real environment and non-COVID, he's not as good, man. I mean, he played well the other night, but that brother's never. We talk about Wiggins with dog and Wiggins with never dog with Anthony Davis. A phenomenal talent, one of the best talent players in the league, but there's no dog. There's no. You just don't see the fire in his eyes at all. You know what I'm saying? Everything's nonchalant. Everything
Yeah, man.
is camp kid, and so that's why we have no love from Chicago anymore. He's from Green Bay. If he wants to go, if he wants to cheer for Green Bay. He's from Green Bay, and Green Bay can adopt him because we Chicago. He's not. He's not Chicago
Aaron
anymore.
done push you up 94, AD. He done push you up 94, then go with your 43, you go up
43,
north,
yeah,
you go
43 North. Keep on going
43
43 North.
north, and you go right
Yeah.
to stop when you see the signs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll see how that flows out, man. One of the things I want to, as we wrap up here, and I want to put out, we're gonna be getting ready for the draft. These guys are funny. We'll start to get ready. There's a lot happening with the NFL draft. I'm figuring our next
Yep.
podcast, we'll get ready. It's gonna be in Detroit. And so we'll get into the NFL draft and some other things that'll be happening. So, if you want to know that, these guys know they draft stuff. I'm gonna try and step my game up. I rely on them to hold me down. So they doing it. But when I look at the NBA playoffs, it's moving. And y'all saw it when we talked about um who can run this and why Denver can't, because there's some parity growing. Even when we're talking about Boston, who's got a great record. You can't trust them. If we did our NBA can't trust it list, Boston gonna be on it. So who you think might fall short of expectations? We know Milwaukee's hurt and a whole bunch of other stuff. But are the other teams? We got OKC at the top. Them young boys coming in. They might be the Marlo Stansfields of the NBA. They want their corners. They ain't waiting for it. They coming up like they're coming up to LeBron and them and all these folks we taking these blocks, and if not, you go into the vacants. Them young cats coming for there. Same thing with Minnesota. You got some folks on the East. You got New York that's coming through a little bit here. They got the second seed. But who would disappoint you? They don't necessarily have to win the championship, but someone you think they need to be making some moves this year and they fall short. They're falling short.
It's definitely Boston. I mean, I think Boston will be the winner this year, but if they don't win, it's going to be because of second row Joe. That's simple.
Yeah.
I don't trust him at all. I think really, if they fall short this year, I think Brad Stevens needs to come back down from the booth. I mean, from the suite and come coach the team, because this team is too talented not to win Child right now. And like I said, they fell short last year. No way it should have been.
And wouldn't it be something? And wouldn't it be something if they lose in the first round
Yeah.
to the Heat?
Yeah, well, that's one thing.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. I mean, the main thing is that you got Chicago's playing real well right now, but Caruso's hurt. That's concerning me. Actually, now he's back on the court now. He's not 100%. You can tell because Drummond fell fell on him. But no, bottom line, he looks better now. But yeah, bottom line is that Jimmy got dogged, man. This guy, Jimmy was on the streets. You know that. On the streets and survived, man. So this cat, basketball ain't for Jimmy survived the game of life. So that's where and one thing I was starting to listen to we saw it in the car while I was driving, and the main thing with Jimmy, like people, the Heat have been in 2 finals in the past 4 years. They get no respect for that. None. 2 finals. And you can talk about the first one being a fluke, but last year wasn't a fluke. They went in, whooped Milwaukee, but beat, yeah. I mean, again, you have a team that is solid. So yeah, again, I'll be afraid of our Boston. I think Boston will win, but I'll be afraid of them because Jimmy's going to come out and make sure that again his team wins. Plain and simple.
Mine is that I'm looking at is because nobody talk about them sometimes is the Clippers. I mean, boy, we get Kawhi a break, boy. We get Paul George a break. We there isn't equity in how we evaluate some of these stars. But you got Harden over there. I mean, they gotta make a move. They gotta go deep. And
I don't see it, man. I just don't see it again. It's the Clippers. It's the
if it
Clippers.
doesn't happen, we gotta be critical.
I don't know because they're gonna say that they didn't
critical.
gel with
How can you
Harden,
have
and
a
I
team?
just
They've been
Kawhi's hurt. Kawhi's
players.
always hurt. You know, one thing about Kawhi,
but we let it go. We would never let LeBron get away with this.
I agree with that, bro. But the one thing that upsets me about Kawhi is that Kawhi announced he's going to be
we call AD
guy
street
on
clothes.
the Olympic team.
AD don't play. How many games you say AD played, Darnell?
76, and we still call them street clothes. But the thing is, there's pros and there's cons to being in the public eye. There's pros and cons of having the media coverage. Kawhi Leonard doesn't talk, and parts of his legacy doesn't get elevated as much as it should have because he doesn't talk. But at the same time, that gives him room for his failures not to be elevated in the same way because he doesn't talk. He's not in the light. So the expectations are not as high because you don't have your Stephen A. Smiths and your Skip Baylesses and your Shannon Sharps talking about what Kawhi gonna do every single day because he doesn't position himself in that way.
I give Stephen A. credit because he's the one person talking about Kawhi, and everybody else. And I'm not saying it's not.
I mean, at the bottom, they're not as relevant. That's the main thing. I mean, people just don't expect.
How can you say a team with Paul George? I'm just gonna name 3: Paul George, Harden, and Kawhi.
They should, but people still count them out, man. Just
because people know James Harden is washed. James Harden is not the same James Harden
he's done. Yeah,
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook is not the same Russell Westbrook from 5 years ago.
But
this is the Charles Barkley Houston Rockets. That's what this team is, and everybody knows it.
Scottie Pippen too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Scottie Pippen. Well, Charles Barkley told Scottie Pippen when you said you was coming, I thought you was bringing Michael Jordan with you. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same Rockets thing. It's the same thing as the late '90s Rockets when Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley came. Everybody knows it. So the expectations are not the same that you would have on the Boston Celtics or something like that, or the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis. And the expectations are not the same because people see it for what it is. But how far should they go?
I should have an expectation. This team should be able to make it to the Are they coming up on the Denver side?
Well, you can say that, but if they lose, if they lose to Luka and Luka averages 40, are you really surprised?
But they should be able to beat them with that talent if you got pride. Like we're talking about Kawhi.
How do they have pride, man?
We try to put Kawhi in an all-time list. You thinking some of the all-time?
I'm saying it's a competitive series, and in a competitive series, each team can win. I'm not so if either team wins, that means the other team loses. So at the same time, I'm not going to go into it saying, "Oh,
Paul George should be able to get up on Luka and give him some problems." How tall is Paul?
He's 6'8". Yeah.
In length, I mean, I can't give them a pass, man. I like forget this. Y'all get knocked out of the first round, and I know Ty Lue's like take me out of this. I mean, y'all
He
ain't done.
tried. He tried. He tried to get some of the jobs, last year, but they didn't let him out his contract yet.
Man,
So.
Ty, I wish I could get you to come to Detroit, man, because my boy Mark, I don't know what he's doing over there in Detroit, but
Stealing money. That's what mine doing. Stealing money, man.
man, I
Stealing
would.
money.
I mean, so Darnell, who do you got? Who do you got? I'm sorry about that. Maybe I wasted our time. I'm sorry about that, y'all. I
I
apologize
don't know because really to answer this question, you got to think about who actually has the expectations. So I'm thinking of
What
so
about
I don't
Minnesota?
really because at the end of the day I don't know what everybody thinks because really Minnesota could lose in the first round, and is that
But
really
but but
surprising to
but
you?
what
Because
do
Minnesota
you
is
think?
playing Phoenix.
But that's not good. You got Cat and
Minnesota's
all them. They
playing
should be
Kevin
losing the
Durant,
first round.
Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. If they lose that series, are you really surprised?
Yeah,
No,
because
no,
I don't
no.
have no confidence in what they got over there with the Suns. I think
You
Minnesota is
do,
much
you
better than the
don't.
Suns.
You
I
think
think
they're much
Minnesota is much
better.
better than the Suns.
Interesting.
Much better.
Interesting. I
Much better.
disagree. I
I think they're
disagree.
linked. They got dogs. They can defend. They got a lot of parts. They should be giving them
I like
hell.
Minnesota. I like Minnesota a lot, but I think this is a 50-50 series.
I don't
I
think
absolutely
so.
think
I
so.
mean, other than
I think
KD
it's 50.
coming every night, Book gonna give you
And
something. They
Devin
can't
Booker
defend.
and Bradley Bill's been defending. He
Ah,
been defending the last man. He and
I
you
like
got Kevin
Bradley,
Durant
but
with limp.
is he gonna pull up with a hammy or something?
He might. That's it's all part of the game.
I mean,
But you
look
can
at
say
the
the same
depth they
thing for
got
the
in
other teams.
Minnesota. Look at the depth they got in Minnesota. They got slowpoke. They got all kind of ways to play them, and they got them two bigs. You
Yeah.
can't do nothing with Cat and them. You shouldn't be able to. I think it would be a good
But
series.
do they
I know
got
from
the
a
but they
sweep.
do they
They
have
should
the
beat them in
discipline to
six.
but do they have the discipline to go down to you said they don't have nothing for Cat.
They are a better team
Do they have the
roster
discipline to
wise.
keep
Yeah, you
going
got
to him?
to me, they got a better team roster wise. They play a tough. They should be able to beat the Suns.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if either team won that series. I just wouldn't be.
I expect the way
I
I
think the
watch
biggest
Minnesota play.
disappointment.
I expect
I think
Minnesota to
yeah,
be someone who push for the finals. If you're saying if
I
I'm looking
think
at you, I'm a
yeah,
GM. I'm trying to judge my development with that team about where you're going. That's a team that's got to at least take you to the finals.
hey,
About our
I think
progression.
the I think Carl had the biggest potential for disappointment is right there in Boston.
Yeah, no,
I
Oh,
can
we
I
see
know
that's why
that.
I
Boston.
mentioned it. That's why I mentioned
I can see I can see them losing the first round easier than I can
it. I
see
can see it
any
too,
of
but
these
the
other
reason,
people.
but Darnell, the reason why is because of the coach. It's not because of talent.
Yeah.
It's the coach. I don't believe in Joe in second row Joe at all. He should not
Yeah,
be. I mean, Ime
Yeah.
Duca should be the head
Yeah.
coach of Boston, but he
yeah.
made some poor decisions.
Yeah.
Very poor decisions. Yeah,
Yeah. If we have to rank
that
them
boy's
all,
not ready.
Hammer,
The
you're
boy's
right.
not ready.
You have
The
to
boy's
make
not
them
ready.
all. It's all in Boston. And they on the can't trust it list.
Yeah, they are.
Coach, man, because what's he gonna do when it comes to playoff time? Is he gonna revert back to what he knows? And what he knows doesn't work for the playoffs. You know, he got different pieces to play with. So you're right. We'll see how that. Is the ball handling going to be tight down the stretch? Are they going to get in ISO? There's going to be a lot of things, not that ball movement that they got going.
And you know that zone is coming.
You know the zone is
That
coming.
zone is coming.
You know it's
Yep.
coming. People been packing it away, especially with the Heat. What they going to do? And that it's going to require. It's going to be interesting. So I'll give you that one. You're right. That's the one. All right, gentlemen, it's been fun, man. We missed last week, man. It's good to have y'all back. Feel like we just getting our legs back, like the playoffs. We trying to get it right. We gonna be there in the end. If anybody gonna be there, we gonna be standing. We gonna be there in the end. So we ain't quite yet saying we running things, but we gonna be there in the end. We gonna drop the mic. I know we get a chance to even talk about OJ last week and it passed away.
Oh,
And
you
and
took
we won't
mine.
We
we
ain't
won't
talking
get
about OJ, man. We ain't talking
we
about
won't get into that. We gonna leave it
no.
alone. They gonna
Leave OJ alone. Yeah, OJ ain't talking about
Oh,
OJ. So why we don't talk about OJ? His
we
own
missed it. We
estate
weren't
ain't
able
doing
to.
nothing.
We gonna keep it moving. We gonna keep.
hey.
I'm gonna leave it up to my man Cam and Mace. They did a good job. Go and do your thing, man. All right. So just drop the mic, man. Go ahead. Who wants to go?
That's I'll go, but thing is, you stole my thunder because I was just about to say, man, we lost a legend. I
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
a couple weeks ago, yeah, I was literally this is literally my drop the mic. A couple weeks ago, I was watching the video on the 2000 Club, and we had the original member OJ Simpson,
Mhm.
and I got a chance to go back and look at just some of the highlights and just the stuff that he was able to do. Like OJ, like people forget how good this dude was. Like he was the precursor to the Tony Pollards, the Christian McCaffrey, all these different kind of elusive backs. He was one of those dudes, but way back in the late '60s, early '70s. He was giving out all kinds of work. So I'll give I'll drop the mic by giving my um paying my respects to the Juice.
Yep, he used to run through the airports, and was the first person. Everybody talks about Jordan, but it was him. He
Yeah.
was the one who was when you talk about black athletes.
Imagine
And,
2,000 yards in 14 games.
yeah, and getting that kind of notoriety from playing in Buffalo on Madison Avenue,
Hmm.
different kind of thing. We know about all the other parts of the story, but this is part right here is
Yeah.
um what happened when it was on the field of play. All right, Hammer.
I'm gonna drop the mic for Don Staley in South Carolina. Everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark, right? So, I mean, Caitlin Clark was a tremendous player and who transformed college basketball. But we saw kind of what happened in that championship game. I mean, South Carolina almost gave the game away. Iowa wasn't a better team. It was quite clear who the better team was, and the fact that again Don Staley lost 5 starters from the year before to have another undefeated team. That's a juggernaut, and so you have to give her props as far as what she's brought to South Carolina, the culture, and I see a dynasty in South Carolina right now. The way she's shaped that program. So
You doing your thing. That was South Carolina was and thinking about Don Staley and just um, she said something at the end of the game. This is not my drop the mic, but she talked about when they lost to Iowa. She hadn't even watched the tape, but she's very spiritual and talked about, the way in which God just had her go through that process, right? And so just the way she frames the struggle is something that's amazing. I want to get this to Raven Johnson, who, my niece who's been on this show, that's one of her little partners. They all come out of the FBC, I believe it is. The AAU group is a big community. That's like her little sister. And what I love about this young woman is she had one of the toughest, lowest moments you could have on the biggest stage. And we all had these moments we struggle, not as visible as she had in front of all these millions of people, shown all over time on TV. And a lot of times when you're in those moments, you can go a couple different ways. And she used that as fuel. And worked on her game and changed her 3-point shooting. But her impact on the game, as you talked about, Hammer, or it might have been Darnell
That
Monday
was me.
night,
Yeah.
was she went back to the scene of the crime, got on that defense and that stance, and she was tenacious. I mean, she was on Caitlin, and it was like she leaned into the moment. But you got to think about it, a year ago from that time, she was on a low point, and what she did over that time and to show up in that moment, I just because a lot of times in life we fall those moments. We all struggle with those moments, and she turned that moment into something positive. I think it had a lot to do with her teammates and how they do it, but she decided to just get to work, and I appreciate her. I just want to wish her well in her future. But that is. that to me is what life is all about. And for her to be able to have, she called it redemption. She's been redeemed. So I want to, drop the mic for Raven Johnson. All right, y'all. It's been good, man. Darnell, I hope everything's going well with the gas line. You look
Yeah.
you look like one of them 60 Minutes things where you blowing the whistle, but you really don't want to be seen. But we okay with that. You came across clearly in your analysis, and we'll try to make it happen. It's good. Everybody's safe. And guys, hey, let's have another good one. And everybody listening in, we will, when it's all good said done, we'll see you on the other side.
Ready for the day the Lord called on me. Them other shit man, they all on me. I came in this way from Hey, yo, Neil.